And this speech beginning is short-lived, to be honest, because there's not much more to say. I was under a crazy swap of Maitreya Tiago on the FBI Suppresse Taco on the 8B509484 Shakro Award, Panzo Positive AE Aero Court Dob Ship Rajoso. At this very second, right here at 7:38, that's what the name was. At approximately August 19, Saturday, 2023. And this court case was ended at the same time I said that, because any conflict that a white person has with Dexter Jerome Ray Jr. is fabricated in advance and falsified, for the simple fact, in 1998, George Bush told the president that he was the one chosen for the intercline, because nobody else was there and nobody else cared but Clinton. And Clinton looked at fairy tale creatures in the afterlife and laughed. He said, well, now America's a lot more colorful. But when Bush took office, he said the opposite. He said America's a lot more puzzleable. He said America must die and fall short of E. Nancy Rajoko funeral clap drives. Excuse me. But if anybody else knew that the President Bush was the one there, then nobody else lived. But if I told them no and nobody else cared, then I was the one chosen for the clear. Because anybody know that if Dexter Jerome Ray Jr. was in America since 1994 until 2023, then nobody else really cared about him except his mom. And a mom in heaven means somebody of angelic presence, a minister, teach, help, heal, grow, and allow you to be great, good, and wicked, if you will, but not wicked at all for him. And so anybody would know that a mother is somebody sent to you by God to heal, help, and aid the fracture rajos. But if Dexter Jerome Ray Jr. was here and nobody else cared about him, it was his mother. But if Dexter Jerome Ray Jr. was killed and nobody else cared about him, it was nobody else in particular. Because his particular existence in the earth was not something specified in heaven for the day in 94 to now. Which is something people get tired of hearing until they factor in the object that if these people were here to fight me, kill me, or shoot me, then they'll win. Because everybody knows it already for 18 years. But if white people did the same thing, it was a crime called terrorists under the Cheku Krakow gears. And it's something that the FBI clears. Because all white people would know that if Dexter Jerome Ray Jr. was in the Twin Towers, that he would not be here living today. But in the afterlife, they have been promulgating falsely and promoting false perspectives for 21 years about a man who has not any knowledge of the situation which they're speaking of. And which say thank goodness for the Suede, because all people can check all truth. But the Suede itself never fails or never had fault this whole time. But when they check me, then it's considered a crime now, but it was not before. Why? Because earlier today, I was just bombarded by a group of policemen, military troops, and the CIA recorder Ampriest Thomas. All of them sent a fortified hitman to come and attack Dexter Jerome Ray Jr. arbitrarily, and then they use a male Glitzmo spybot camera under a CCOM Riso Kako unit, and they schemed and planned to place his father in the place of the Moscow crewman, which is something that everybody knows. So a group of white supremacists, they underhand scam man G. Cord Bazo from Sky Hang Hados my employment blatantly. And then they started to extort me for racial supremacy. Now they said that I could have a job, but they said I couldn't. So a group of white people did this, then all of a sudden they told their wives. Their wives were informed by them what they had just did. Then their wives went on to show me camera lenses in the afterlife worse than anything else that I could ever imagine. It showed the pictures of my mom dead. It showed the pictures of a white lady standing there on the towers, the pictures of a white lady standing with her husband, and the pictures of a white lady being here threatening me and telling me that my career is over arbitrarily in plain sight blatantly because no nigger population loves or cares about me in plain sight. And when I looked around, there is no black person that was in support of me since 18 years. And not one of them cared about me because they didn't know me, because they chose not to know me for the lineage of the things they love and care about and understand. I myself didn't care one way or another about it except for the fact that this is happening every week 7 days, period, every other day. I'm being poisoned by Marine Lit Gauge Unit on the Sterile Advisory Kakiako Acts. The U.S. Marines are attacking me non-stop for no reason in particular, know it, and still won't stop. When you question them about it, they say it's about the black raciate supremacy. They're doing it for black people, but then when they ask me about it, they say they're doing it because I'm black, which is both on mixed match occasions. And since they're doing it because I'm black and they're doing it for black people, then what does that place me in reality in entirety? So the white supremacists are saying that they're targeting an innocent males guy, Wajoko, trails guy, for nothing in particular, and framing a glitspo kayasro teat mazi. And they're framing a glitspo kinko kako mazi, and they're flaming a glitspo nas rock point at sehadiko maxi. And they're framing a male glisco figure, a male glismo tigger, and a male glisbo cricker. They're framing a male in plain sight non-stop all day long in the U.S. of America, and the country still continues as if nothing else happened. They're framing me for 9/11, which is something crazy of all attacks. I rap good. All this testimony is told every day. They poison me with a Luther crack roll every time I speak the truth in order to try to take my courage or confidence. Even now as we speak, they don't stop nor leave, and no country was getting involved because their words are, their words are muzzling me in the opposite way. I'm from heaven, Lagalago Island, a place that was in heaven before 1994. That's where I'm from. I'm an angel of Rachieto Hope. That's true. I'm an angel of pre-Bible hope. That's true. And I'm an evangelist of each Psalm Lily Cryese because of my natural strength in the earth. And I'm even more than that. I hear words of war. Let's go to war. War this. Every time they go to war, they attack me with guns, rifles, poison, ammunition, and things disgusting for a person to live through or live with every single day. So this country is tormenting a righteous person in plain sight, because anybody would know if somebody is righteous, then whatever fault staged against them, according to the Sway Index check solution, is a false fault. And everybody would know that whoever is saying these things is lying, and nobody else can justify anything else. But if I'm being approached or assaulted by U.S. troops or military, I react the same as Bishop T.D. Jakes did. I did the same thing Bishop Jakes would do. I looked at him and told him I am a Christian, first and foremost. Secondly, I'm not doing anything to you or your children. And that's true. That is the way I respond in the same event, except I've been saying it already for 9 years through every which way I could broadcast it. And these same people have been going unsaid, unknown, and unnoticed for the entire time until today. So now in 2023, they are coming forward as if they always were there, which to me is a mystery, but I'm not allowed to gain sense of marvel compromise towards the situation. They bombard me with so much sorcery and peccadillo that I cannot say what's happening to me in plain sight. And I have no fear of those forces in any which way particular, because I know myself and what I've done righteously. I am a rap poet, naturally. And my speech could slur, but not because of drugs or anything. And it's unrelated to police, military, or anything legal or governmental, which is also known. As I speak, they're attacking me with police e-scanner equipment, which is a recording host AG party, through FBI intelligence surveillance and police membership in all 50 states. They are collectively colluding and attacking a Preciato Keiko unit, man. They're doing this to somebody who is not deserving of it, know it, in plain sight of the law, legal atmosphere, and everything else. This is not a street war, nor is it a gang God ties, because anybody in the street should know, as they taught me for blood game management, that if you beef with somebody in the streets, they're living, and they are still there with it. But if you got a problem with somebody and they not fighting you, then that means that they cannot fight or cannot handle your kissing. But if you keep fighting somebody who ain't got no defense and no position that they can take about it, then that means you a winch, which is something that all know and understand. You a winch ass nigga. That's what they call it, a winch. W-I-N-C-H. You somebody who is so a coward that you won't fight people who will get there with you on that same level. And that's it, as you is as a man. But me personally is not a thug or a gangster, but that's what the white supremacists had stand. Because if they were fighting me, it'll mean something different. They're fighting me to tell black people that you are a punk in plain sight. That's what all the white supremacists ever told me, which is why I had more respect for them than the black people. Because I saw the black people earlier for the first time my whole life. And it was people from 50 states of the country. They set me aside, told me that Tupac Shakur was God of the universe in 1996 and forever after that. Now, I didn't ask for this information, nor did I do anything to bring this on myself. But these black people were so rude, cantankerous, and ego-minded that they didn't even care to ask me how I was doing or anything for my reputagro in the hood borrow section ACE 540101112 Hot Wave. They didn't sit there to ask me any rational, reasonable question, and nor did they say anything under the tabernacle or Shikak Pegase or Hazianyo or anything of that nature. Instead, they attacked me violently and mercilessly and never stopped in the afterlife. They go it so well to the point where you can feel it in the afterlife, in spite of any type of limits or rigidity in the universe. So they going past the laws of physics to harm me for something I did not do blatantly in plain sight. Then they're calling it street stuff. Well, the streets were ended yesterday when a black Wuga member told me that the street said Paye Sevete, Camp Coke Cat Huge. And the streets went dark black photo Shaco back then. Now, the strange part to me is how could the streets come back after the black Huawo said that yesterday? Today, they just went out again. So what is happening that the streets fluctuating? Not lowering the Kurosako system and the month wage rose. This recording is very prolific for the simple fact this is one of my final ones because I will be attacked and destroyed, but nobody else will care because under these circumstances, it's nothing that a man can do except that. But if it's going to be somebody that go out like this, it should be somebody who did something. And that's all I was saying. Because when they checked me out, all left and right, they realized I did nothing except what was guided by CIA Enterprise 453018 Quacoco unit, which all knew and understood now and before today, because we all watched each other scrutinize this information way before. Now, if somebody erased their memory in order to attack you anyway, that means they're jealous. Meaning that's the opposite of what you need to have in order to get women. Wedro. So they're full of what it takes not to have sex with women. And that's all I'm saying. If they chose something else, that's weird and that's hellbound. But I myself was no preacher or psalmist or anything in the opposite way. But I did everything I was supposed to do according to the Bible. I followed God, lived right, and did everything I should do according to the Bible all these years, not just some of them. When this started happening was the last 2 years. When I could see the afterlife, which everybody else already could see for 15 years before I was able to see it. And my first things I see is violence. I'm not a violent person, and I never said I was, but I can rap. And I rap very well, and I will compete with rap if I can. And all my raps were poison, which is weird to say. Somebody in the law enforcement field poisoned a man's literature or art radros, meaning they're doing things that's not possible in the laws of physics. And they don't care nothing about it, nor reverence the situation in any which way. They poisoned my rap ability, like with actual poison on the recordings that I made that was freestyles, meaning the things that show that you can rap naturally. That's the only way to tell if someone can rap naturally. Freestyles, not things they write and not things they sing on the microphone. It's what they can say quickly and rap and freestyle. That's the only way you could judge whether a person can rap or not. And that's what happened. I showed I've been recording things for months, show people I am the one who could rap since a baby. But when I was a baby, I was blessed, meaning I was someone who was the same way he is now in the afterlife without sin and without any type of pain or grief or the cadets. And so I'm being attacked nonstop in the midst of being starved at the same time. Now, every time I say this, every year it goes ignored and empty-handed. The special things, empty-handed. The special thing about today is if I mention it, I was saved because I'm being robbed blind by U.S. President Donald Trump Sr. And this is the first time in history I was forced at gunpoint by white supremacists to say something that had nothing to do with me in my sight. And so since I myself was immune to the tabernacle of Shakraj, I never prioritized these people, but I saw what they were doing to me. But today was the end when people said that a rapper named Eminem called me out by name after 7, 8, 9 years of me already saying that something strange is happening to my recordings in my personal Tupperware bin in my house. And for me telling the officers and many people that's all of a sudden now, that was ignored, but now I'm somewhere safe ground in order to be came for in this way. And so since my private rap sessions and the things I was creating unrelated to any man or a celebrity in existence, to my knowledge and awareness at that time and ever since, I was the only one who was only one who was an advocate for my testimony. And I'm the only one who could testify about myself in the situations. So in order to make that not be the case, I put these things all over the internet virally, meaning the situation I'm going through and nothing else, consistently every single day, 365, because I know that whatever this is has nothing to do with gang violence, ties, activity, nor no type of friend, colasso, recolage, or nothing of that nature. And I knew this instantly, and I already said it years and years, many times ago. So the country is railroading me to gang violence, death, bruised battery, starving, and they're trying to get me a hostage to beg and ask for help from a high power man Zugo. So the country is always coalescing things to bring about these results. They destroy everything I could think of in order to progress myself in success-wise without it. Nobody helps and nobody says anything or two right now. Because this is the final Humphrey Ackery David of the spy agency of the Secret Services, who were told not to be anywhere near me arbitrarily without my approval or consent. And when they were told that, nobody else cared, because normally they're somewhere, and today they was not in the U.S. at all. And this happened. And so I was compelled to speak, but all day long I was getting attacked with sorcery at a time unfitting for me and my professional life, and me knowing what I need to live life with royally in the earth. And I can't do things according to the same measurement that everyone else can, because my life story is different dramatically since the things that took place years and years and years and years before the day already transpired. And so nobody cares about the things that I'm saying until they see a hand of God of all things come out the Milky Way afterlife. Now for me it's a marvel, because I wasn't aware that any of this was possible for whatever reason. And so when I become aware that the afterlife is this active actually, and it's more like humans and mankind than I ever thought was possible, that's the time when they're telling me that I'm God, and they're telling me I'm the righteous Tarej, which I knew I was living right, and I knew I was following that on purpose. The righteous talk of Holy Bible, King James Version, is the only thing my head was ever in, or my face was ever in, if you will, for reading. And every time I read these pages and lines, it revitalized me and gave me hope, spirit, and energy, which I never understood. I got energy from reading the Bible. And that's something that I always said and made note of. So I thought it was understood, and whoever my audience was throughout the courses of the world, the 3 Egypt Bay, and anybody else. But it turns out people were not reading the stuff I was saying, and I did not know it. And if I did know it, I knew I had to write and speak the truth for later. So I knew that the things I had to say then was for a time later in my life, but I did not know why exactly at an earlier point in time. But I know that I felt compelled to create art, literature, the things of that nature. But I was attacked so mercilessly for 9, 8, 10 years probably, that nobody else cared about the things that were happening. I was being sucked the keck road. I was being sucked the keck road by hip-hop artists. And I proved it every step of the way by presenting a live analysis of some chalk Glenroe to police department officials. Even if it was an unnatural pretense, I never said that they were not reading the things I was saying. But I did say they did not say anything about it, and I did not feel as if I would be helped if these people said anything about it. So I stayed away laterally from human fear or retaliatory effort from something I don't understand nor see it. And so I report these things as a man, not as a thug or a coward. but as somebody with reasonable contents. And so every time I write these things, I tell the truth. Every time I create poetry or art or rap, I tell the truth. It's nothing for me to sing, rap, say anything, but right now I'm doing something different. And so the afterlife is actually more alive than anybody ever said it could be. And I realized that myself. When like anytime I can speak and people are speaking with me, that means it's a World War Threshold 2 situation happening on an innocent man. Now you don't know him because you don't got to, but you should care about your land. And that's all I'm saying. Wedros. And they say things that are untrue. They say they are attacking these people in retaliatory effort for the law or the Constitution and the U.S. colors of the border official Rajos. And they don't. In plain sight, they don't. They are not performing justice in plain sight when they have no fear of it because they have no humaturo of the conjunctions. And I'm somebody with experience enough to know to tell the difference naturally. And they are sparing convicted criminals after murder attempts on somebody of varying races of any type of race color. So these supremacists or white police officers were egging and begging me to mention them by force at gunpoint for 7 months. And I myself did not really care one way or another. This is recent. But I say the same things I always did say. I follow God, not the devil, and I live life royally and heavily at the time I was, and I never did anything to anybody else except do everything that I said without the gloves, meaning without hands fighting or the bands, because I was taught by the Bible that you turn the other cheek when you are getting shoved. And so that's the way that I live and the way that we was the whole time in the earth, in the USA, America, from everywhere, from South Georgia to Chicago, from New York to New Jersey to California to Houston to Wyoming, Texas, all the way to Louisiana and to Indiana and a couple of other places that I always was and nobody else cared about it. Now, Ohio as well, but I myself never caused problems with these people, but they arbitrarily jumped up and ate me. And that's the way it was the entire time. I did nothing but my nature, even when I was living in a place where nothing else was happening. And that was in the South. But that was poor, and I was a strange tug hostage, meaning I could not go anywhere and did not know it. And the way it was is people were lying on me so bad about Twin Towers and things. To me, is outlandish. But to them, it's been going on for so long. And as outlandish as that is, it's people who actually took serious accusations against a kid. And it's weird. And they blame me for things that are not possible to occur in plain sight. And nobody finds it weird. It's things that makes no reasonable entries after FBI investigation and surveillance courageous. Meaning they can explore these situations and investigate them, and they find nothing wrong with it. But yet somehow it's still stood by people who are violent with guns in America, with the presence of the United States government and the Police Enforcement Committee against people who are doing things against evil and not doing it for their reputable skigo silence. And they're not saying it for their septitude, but they're saying it for their rayos. They're saying it for things that are not legally proper and not legally CIA creatified and not legally FBI enterprise Sereshe limit. Under statute code 5849109111121314 Sargento Candos, the United States government is under arrest for harboring a fugitive after a crime murder Moshbar Pico maneuver. And the U.S. government is formally under arrest by a civilian, by force, at gunpoint, not because the person willed it. And so the U.S. government is under arrest because it willed to be. And so it put someone in a position through negligence, as I used to speak in these quotations with the white backgrounds. They put a person in position through negligence, and they are under arrest under the Court of Martial Law 67305810418 Javier Chicago. Meaning Camp P unit. Yeah, Camp P unit. They attacked my mother and won, and they attacked me and lost. And they did nothing that I myself didn't have anything to see or do with. These people hunted and stalked me for nothing in particular this entire time, and nobody helped me in heaven, hell, or earth, no matter what. So anybody that was involved in my death or my mom's attack are under the Kiko Kayeso at the superpower Frieshe Nungos. Meaning that's the most attack they can do because we righteous and pure and holy innocent, but that's it. And I never said that we was tough. I said I was a rapper that could rap good about flowers, trucks, and omnis instead. And that's it. But I ain't say instead. I just did it instead of saying anything. And these people are at me with guns, picks, and swords for having talent and skill naturally. And they have no defense regimen in the opposite way. So it's nothing I can say or do to defend myself or protect my family. And nobody else cares about anything. Anybody who was in the U.S. government system from the year 2015 until 2023 has been arrested for murder on the Sasquatch Lily Kupapo maneuver. It's a Swashage Willie. It's a Waboot Bangbo Barbaro maneuver. It's something using all things they could, like a Finko Rashido Powako murder syndrome Payese committee. And they are under arrest for real. But what will happen to them, I don't know. Now, citizens arrest is actually taking place over the whole entire world by force by the people who are under arrest at gunpoint. By extortion, I'm forced to arrest these people, which is weird to me, but maybe not to a policeman. So I don't know the situation. But I am someone who loves the light, proper Raggio structure. And I love structure, order, and gumption, and security, and the things that are righteous and right to have for a person of great standing. And so now that everything has been arrested, they'll be terminated upon instincts on Esirajes. These people can go to where they should go naturally. And that's it. Because not another day will go past after August 19th, 2023 at approximately 8:04 p.m. that can happen, except if they themselves were already present here at Raggio. But nothing else can happen naturally. But if it does, it's weird and it's strange. But these people were just put under arrest by a citizen because they actually asked for it. And for them, it's jokes humor. But for us, it's real life for people who are really going through it. But I myself was not the one chosen for it, but I didn't do anything about it like good. And so I live life royally and wealthily, and I said nothing else in particular. But if these people had this much of a grudge against somebody who they know with plain sight had nothing to do with something, then they should have told people who were responsible for it directly. And instead, they run and duck and hide, look left and right when somebody who actually did it and admitted it to the police with evidence and proof says and come forward and say, what about me? These people ignore the suspect of the terrorists in plain sight. White men that look like Bella Frankowitz right now for the first time in history. And black men who don't care, they look pale-faced, stone-far evil, like how black people always are. And these people in plain sight pointed at the person innocent that can rap instead of the person who did it against their gramps. In plain sight. And that told you everything you need to know about the Bible era and the times in which we live. But this man innocent in every which way. So Dexter Jerome Ray Jr. was remembered and always will be as somebody who lived by the Bible. He lived righteously in plain sight, like a pastor or a preacher that we know and love and understand. He says things similar to what a preacher say, even the complicated words that they use that you can feel it when he speak. All of that, he does it. But the thing is, he also can rap, freestyle naturally, which for some people is different because you can't mix somebody that you know already do something with something else. That's weird. But when you put it with him, he's already been attacked and assimilated by black people before he got to the age of 19 years old. And he was being assimilated by the black lineage of APOC Chaco limits. And they themselves went out through a mercenary mode and attacked this man without doing anything worse about it. These people were so innocent, his mom and him, that nobody else cared about their blood and nobody cared whether or not they lived life royally or Robertly in the earth. But when he started rapping or making poems on the internet, nobody cared. But when all of a sudden he starts freestyling years later, everybody loves him. But then everybody looked back at him and did the same thing they do every month. They laugh, turn evil, and say the same things they keep doing over and over again in a pattern. But this man was innocent, left to starve to death arbitrarily, and in the midst of the Union Valley Airwood Tribes. So in the midst of the Union, starving in plain sight, even today. But nobody else said he could do anything different. because it's not their say to give. That's the U.S. Constitution. What they forget, he is not a Flack Monsieco bot posse. But they want him dead because he can rap better than the ones they already put in place. But he himself never said a name, and nobody else cared about anything else. But these people under arrest include rappers, celebrities, and also other people. And they will be arrested by the police, cops, and everybody. But Dexter Ray Jr. is free because he is not the one wanted by the U.S. Justice Service or anybody else with that coonicy. And InSec off.